Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another stream. So today we're going to be talking primarily, or at least I'm going to be chatting about a lot of manipulation that we've seen from JP Morgan, and it cannot be denied. We have some strong evidence of it, kind of happening before. So that's something we have to be aware of. But AJ, what are you kind of really looking at? I know you did your video yesterday and kind of called some pretty good action that has played out extremely well.
Yeah. So yesterday we were looking at these divergences that were playing out on the DXY as well. I mentioned that in my shorter video yesterday, and we're seeing these play out as of right now. We're seeing a little pump in the crypto market, and we sort of established a new resistance level. This is good because obviously it's a descending resistance level, descending trend line. And we are forming these lower lows and these high lows, which tends to eventually get a break towards the upside. So maybe some bullish price action in the future, but we will have a look at that on the charts in a minute.
There we go. Well, I'm just going to quickly jump in. There's one good bit of news that I want to show you. So this is just about Iran and their nuclear. No, this is about Iran and the fact that they have the green light to use crypto for imports. So Iran's trade ministry has approved the use of cryptocurrency payments for imports in a bid to bolster trade in the country, which is very good. And I will say one of the issues as to why trade is down and why it's been quite difficult for the country is because of the sanctions that have been placed, largely due to the opposition of its nuclear program. Now, at the moment, the US are trying to have like a discussion with them, and they're kind of annoyed because they found enriched uranium. But anyway, I'm kind of, we're not here for that, are we? We're here for the 30 crypto mining centers within the country in June 2021. And now we're also seeing that an array of different crypto payments are now approved. It doesn't break down exactly which ones, but this is just a really good step. And one thing we mentioned the other day is we will see these countries who do or who are subject to sanctions, maybe don't have as well established banking systems, really be the forefront of adoption for crypto.
Yeah.
So a lot in the Middle East and also a lot in Africa and countries like this, also then South America, which I just think is really good, isn't it?
I remember you talked about this a while ago, and they are behind on technology, but when they catch up on technology, they normally get ahead of sort of the rest of the world, because when they get new technology, they get the best of the best.
Yes, that is true. It's just like what is it? I think Africa mainly, they missed out on the whole credit card, debit card hype, because everything went from cash, but then it just went straight away into mobile payments. So they were behind for a while, but then just thought, why don't we just adopt the newest technology? So I think that will be something similar. But just to give you an overview, it's understood that local businesses will be able to import vehicles into Iran and a range of different imported goods using cryptos instead of US dollar or euro payments. One thing, guys, I don't know how well the US will take this. I'm just to be honest, I've seen a few different episodes of the same story where people start selling, oil or different things in different currencies. And if you go against the world reserve currency, you might get a nice little flavor of some freedom and liberty in your country, which typically means that your leader is in trouble. But I'm not here to get political, I'm just saying this is something that we watch out for. But the main story that I want to talk about today is JP Morgan. So JP Morgan's blockchain head says most of crypto is junk. Now, one thing, I'm not going to go into everything, he's saying, and I kind of agree with some of it. I think it's like 19,000 tokens or something like this on CoinMarketCap. And yeah, a lot of them are junk, but I do know that JP Morgan have previously been pretty bad for this whole, should we say, deception and manipulation. So basically, he is Farouk, basically, this guy over at JP Morgan. Users would eventually move to financial institutions that are regulated to conduct serious, large value transactions, primarily because the infrastructure will be backed by the government and regulators. And it's just the only reason why I bring this up, guys, is that I like talking about regulators, the government. I genuinely know, I think that this having some kind of regulation will be very, very good for crypto, but only in some projects and in some ways. But these guys are the ones who move the real money. And so what he has said is most of the money that's being used in Web3 today in the current infrastructure is for speculative investment. I don't think that's true because, JP Morgan are here buying up critical Ethereum infrastructure. Let me show you this that I saw with regards to the market manipulation. I'm going to let him explain it because it's a really, really good timeline.
On September 12th, Jamie Dimon says Bitcoin is a fraud. He says he'll fire any one of his traders buying Bitcoin. Bitcoin drops 24%. When Jamie Dimon speaks, people listen. So that weekend, we found out that the largest buyer of a Bitcoin fund that's in Europe that buys physical Bitcoin, right? The largest buyer was Morgan Stanley and JP Morgan. And that's not illegal.
He says it's a fraud.
He says it's by anyone that buys it. Yes.
And at the same time, his company is buying it.
His company is buying it.
It's just, so unethical.
Right.
Okay, George Soros.
George Soros, in January 24th, price was already down, calls Bitcoin a bubble, says Bitcoin is the worst, the worst investment in the world. Don't buy Bitcoin. Don't buy Bitcoin. Basically throws gasoline on the fire at this point. And then what do we find out? So he says bubble here.
It drops 44%.
Right. And then here in April, 2 months later, guess what we find out?
Yeah.
His $26 billion family office has approval to buy cryptocurrency.
Right. And we only knew about it publicly here. And this is the kind of thing that George Soros is famous for this, talking the sterling down.
Yeah.
And what did he do? He stole the pensions of all the little people.
Yeah, made $1 billion.
Yeah.
Okay, so then here now, Goldman Sachs, this, again, February 7th, most cryptocurrencies will crash to zero. Now, I remember when they said this in February, and I had, through my network, I knew that Goldman Sachs was setting up a crypto trading desk. Absolutely knew they were setting up a crypto trading desk.
And I remember you telling me that.
Right, and then, of course, they were denying it. No, we're not. No, we're not. No, we're not. Price falls down 27%. And then what do we find out? We find out here, they say BTC 0. And then we find out just before May, new trading desk. Not only that, they put $400 million to buy.
Exactly. So, guys, I recommend you go watch this video. It is really, really good. I quite enjoyed watching it to get more of an insight, but you can see exactly what's happening. Do you see what he was talking about Goldman Sachs? What did he say? It's like Bitcoin, most cryptos are going to zero. Hello. It's absolutely insane, guys. So then again, like I'm saying is, JP Morgan have a way of doing this. And they say, most cryptos are going to go to zero. They put in that bearish sentiment out there. But little do most people know, they're buying up like with consensus. They're so heavily involved. They've been buying so much so that a group of 35 shareholders of Ethereum giant Consensus have filed for a special audit of 2020 deal that saw JP Morgan Chase acquire an influential stake in 2 of its flagship products. And those are known as, CSI. And so the deal known as Project North Star resulted in financial institutions, JPM, winning a significant slice of the company's lucrative investment property IP, significantly MetaMask and Infura. It's so decentralized. Indeed, Project North Star has proven incredibly lucrative for CSI shareholders like JPM. A year after the transaction, the IP in question was used to raise funds for CSI at a value of $3 billion. Now, they go on to say, and this is just to kind of show you here, MetaMask, Consensus, doing a Series D raise. So this is later on, they do another raise in early of this year at $7 billion. This just shows when JPM say, actually, we're quite bearish on some cryptos, and they're sitting there getting involved in the heaviest way possible. But they have been known to do this time and time again. And what is this? No. All right, disaster. Basically, this is just one story of JP Morgan with regards to energy they have been proven that they are manipulating markets. Again, in the silver market, they plead guilty to boost manipulation claim against JPM. Then they had to pay, how much was it in this case? It wasn't too much in this case, but I can tell you they had to pay 920 million. Again, this is in separate year. This was in 2013. This was in 2018. And this again is happening here is, I believe, 2020. Yes, down here, 2020. And guess what? Now it's 2022. And what are they manipulating? You know, it was energy, and then it's silver. And now it's and then it moved on to, can't remember exactly what this was, precious metals and treasury. So they're manipulating these markets, guys, and then they're profiting from it quite heavily.
Mhm.
Now, Lark Davis did a really good kind of job of stamping BlackRock, Guggenheim, JPM, and Goldman as Bitcoin price manipulators. This is just him saying that they are. Now, he mentions BlackRock specifically. So BlackRock, Larry Fink is the head. I did a video on them if you want to find out. Biggest asset management company in the world. They're the ones who have the deal with Coinbase, which could be very, very good for the space. But basically, Fink, as per Davis, has a different motivation for uttering the remarks, and that's because Larry Fink said that institutional investors are uninterested in crypto. BlackRock predicted Bitcoin would reach a market worth of $10 trillion around 6 months back. And then, moreover, the firm purchased 12% of all MicroStrategy shares. Who buys MicroStrategy knowing they own 100,000 Bitcoin if you don't want exposure to Bitcoin? It's absolutely insane. So he's pretty much bought effectively 12,000 of their Bitcoin. Goldman Sachs here, they've been arguing for a long time that Bitcoin is not really a feasible currency or asset worth investing. And then their internal documents, on the other hand, reveal that they are establishing a new crypto trading division. It just goes on, guys. I'm going to leave that there, but we have to be aware. There's so much manipulation in this space. It's actually disgusting. But I wanted to just kind of bring that to your attention, and it doesn't really affect us too much on the longer term. I should say on the shorter term, but it is something that we need to be aware of because the future is very, very bright for crypto. But people are just not, obviously these guys know it. They just want you to get scared and not buy it so they can.
Yeah, the moral of the story is don't listen to anything JP Morgan says.
Yes.
Don't believe everything. Sorry, don't believe everything JP Morgan says.
Exactly. That is absolutely right. It is absolutely right. But let's bring it now like a little bit more short term. I know that obviously, AJ, you went through yesterday quite a lot of kind of data from what it is that we're looking at on the markets and seeing some of these key levels of reversal and now like support and whatever. Should we have a look at those in a bit more depth?
Yeah. So I want to start off with the DXY. I didn't mention it in the main live yesterday. I mentioned it in my shorter video because, to be honest with you, I didn't actually notice it until after our main live. So if you missed that, make sure you go and watch that back as well. But what I'm looking at here is a bearish divergence on the 12-hour DXY chart. Bearish divergences, they do tend to play out. I think there's a 70, from my own personal research, there's around 75% sort of win rate for bearish divergences. 4% of the time they do play out. And what we can see here is we can see higher highs on the 12-hour DXY chart and lower lows on the DXY RSI indicator here. This is a textbook bearish divergence, and we are getting that reaction from this bearish divergence. So you can see we are having that DXY pullback. This is also in confluence with this resistance level here. So this has been major resistance before, and we are getting a rejection from that resistance as well. This is on the 12-hour chart, but there's actually a bigger one on the daily chart as well. So if I just quickly rearrange these lines, we can see that we've got the price action towards the upside again on the price action chart and momentum towards the downside on the DXY. Again, another more confluence that we could see more downside for the DXY. Also, the stochastic RSI is in that extremely oversold territory. So for me, Ben, this looks like we could have a pullback for the DXY, and that means we could see some nice price action towards the upside for crypto potentially, only if we do see this bearish divergence play out. On the 12-hour, we've sort of seen it play out, but I would like to see the daily bearish divergence play out as well to sort of confirm that we could see more price action towards the upside in the crypto market. But if this bearish divergence did play out, I do anticipate the price could come down to 104, which is that next sort of level of support, which is why I do think that's sort of the next target for the DXY. I don't know what you think about this.
Yeah, I to be honest, I agree. I do agree. It looks as though it is kind of coming down. The upward momentum has definitely slowed. And I'd be interested to see how today plays out. Obviously, we had a big relief in pretty much stocks, so NASDAQ, SP, etc. And I think with that, it's kind of been pushed forward because of quite a nice little, like change in mindset. Friday was like, everyone like sell everything, the world's gonna end. Jerome Powell's killed me. But I think yesterday was quite nice to see a bit of a turn in the tides, shall we say.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that we can kind of keep this momentum throughout the week and not let any of the news affect us.
Definitely, yeah. We were very oversold, so that correction, that little correction is needed before we see potentially.
Sorry,
I've just seen that.
Satoshi Nakamoto sold all my Bitcoin. Love it. That's the best comment I've seen there, man.
Yeah, you might regret that because we might be seeing a little bit of price action towards the upside.
I doubt we'd see any price action to the upside if Satoshi sold all of his.
True. Yeah.
That would. Have you ever thought like that would be absolutely insane?
It would. Yeah.
Like,
the guy who created it
genuinely
has lost belief.
When a captain jumps ship, it's like if you see a CEO or a founder leave a company, stocks usually go all the way down. They plummet hard. But yeah, if Satoshi opened up his wallet for the first time and started selling, that would be it. The thing is, it's weird because he kind of does deserve it. I would be like, fair play, because like this guy, he's become so rich, and he just he's not. What's he doing with the money? Like, it's insane,
Yeah. He could be still living in the same house that he was living in when he created it.
Yeah. Well, I think he's probably going to be like, he would have had maybe 2 or 3 wallets. One, the Genesis wallet, which has like 1 million Bitcoin in it, and then the other, other 2 are probably, buying and selling here and there, and
living off.
That's probably what he's living off. Which, to be honest, if he has like 500,000 Bitcoin, you can live off that for a long while.
Yeah. Yeah, very, very long time. But continuing to look at the charts, looking at the Bitcoin charts, obviously it's looking quite bearish because we broke towards the downside of the this rising wedge pattern. You can see the break towards the downside here. We've had that negative reaction. We're having that price come down. The target was at around $19,000. We didn't quite make it there. We came to around $19,500. But there is still some potential room for some more downside. But what I have found is this new resistance level here. I know the charts are looking a bit messy at the moment, but there's a lot going on. But we do have this very strong resistance level here. So you can see we've had lots of tests of this resistance with lots of rejections from that resistance. And we are testing that resistance level as of right now. If we can get above this resistance level here, I do think we could have a little move towards the more of a move towards the upside in the shorter term. But we do have to remember we do have a lot, and I mean a lot of resistance coming in. So if we did come up to those resistance levels, I do think it would be very, very hard to get above those levels. But we are seeing that bullish divergence. If I bring up the RSI, you can see we've got that bullish divergence, which is actually which is on the 8 hour, sorry. And yeah, we also have that resistance, which is respected on the 8 hour as well. So we have that bullish divergence, which is pushing the price up a little bit. We can see the stochastic RSI is getting into that overextended territory as we are coming in to that resistance on the price action charts here. So maybe we could see a rejection from this level. But if we were to get a break of this resistance, sort of on the 12-hour, I do think we could have a little bit more price action towards the upside. But if we look at the bigger time frames, remember we have very strong resistance coming in at around 21,200 to $21,600. Looking previously, you can see so much resistance here before breaking above it. And we found support when we did break above it. But also when we broke back below it, we spent 5 days within that resistance level, resistance range. And we were finding it very, very hard to break above that level. And of course, we did get that rejection, which was a catalyst for this leg towards the downside, coming very close to this major support level here. But yeah, I do think if we do get that break towards the upside of this resistance here, we could have more pressure towards the upside. But there is very strong resistance here, and I doubt we would get above that. But again, if we got above that resistance level there, then it would be quite bullish for us. I do think we could come up, test that resistance at the bottom of the bearish flag. If we can get above that, then we can invalidate that $12,000 target. But right now, the range that we are in, the range that we need to be paying attention to is between that $19,000 level approximately and that $21,200 level approximately. If we break above the resistance, we're more bullish than bearish. If we break below the support, we're very, very bearish. So that's sort of what I'm looking at for Bitcoin right now. But yeah, I do think there's a possibility we could get a rejection from this resistance right here, because what we are seeing is this descending trend line. We are seeing those lower highs and we are getting those lower lows. So we are in a downtrend. The bears are in control. So they are pushing that price down. So we could see a rejection from this resistance, which will form another potential lower low, taking us down to that price target at around $19,000. So that is a potential scenario that could play out. And yeah, I do think that is a possibility. If we cannot get above this resistance level, the likelihood of it is we are going to get rejected and we are going to come down to around that $19,000 level. So that's what I'm looking at in the shorter term. But obviously, if we break above, then I think we could see these higher price targets and we could come back up to well, we are very close to it, but we could come back up to this next resistance level here that's at $20,800 approximately. That has been major support previously. So obviously it's going to act as resistance. So that's what I'm looking at for Bitcoin in the shorter term.
Yeah, I think we might end up seeing a little bit of a wick, but we are currently in that downward trend. And like I went through yesterday, I do think because of some of the uncertainty in the European Union, I think because of like inflation, GDP, and stuff, that might give us a bit of a slowdown in terms of this inflation. Oh no, what is it like? The Fed rate hikes. But it's not so bad. A little bit more sideways movement is not really going to affect us too badly. I saw this from Mr. Panda. Third biggest Bitcoin whale added over 1,000 Bitcoin yesterday. That's like, imagine that smashing. Was it 20 million straight into Bitcoin?
Yeah,
that would be nice,
Yeah. You can see these bigger wallets are obviously still dollar cost averaging into positions, and that's what
the dollar cost averaging with 20 million.
Yeah, imagine that.
Mad how much some people have.
Yeah,
absolutely insane.
Crazy.
So there you go. Are you going to do another video later, AJ, with kind of a little bit more on the technicals for certain coins?
Yeah, definitely. I'll do that. I'll go into some altcoins there as well, and obviously go through the TA. We can have a quick look at Ethereum as well. There's the exact same thing is happening with Ethereum. We are having that new resistance level that we have established, so you can see lots of resistance along this level, and I do think the likelihood of it is we are going to get rejected from this resistance level. I do think we still have more downside. So I think a rejection from this level is more likely than seeing the break above it. But obviously we never know how that plays out. Ethereum has had a nice pump, almost 10% from yesterday, because we have had this bullish divergence. So momentum towards the upside on the RSI and price action towards the downside. That is a bearish. That's a bullish divergence, and yeah, we've seen a nice reaction towards that. But we are coming into that resistance level, so yeah, I do think we are going to get rejected here. The bears, sorry, are in control right now, and they are pushing that price down continuously.
I was going to say, one thing I noticed is like now we see the Ethereum is kind of pretty much mirroring Bitcoin. If you just quickly, similar time frames, you can see where they like, where as one drops, the other one, it's recovering. They're doing it at the same time, but Ethereum, I feel like Ethereum is much more volatile at the moment because where Bitcoin jumped up, how much percent? It was like 5% in the past, this little jump here. Ethereum's now up by 10%. I think it's because Ethereum was maybe overextended or, maybe just rightly priced, but it got to a much higher level, in this tiny little bull run, shall we say, relative to Bitcoin. We went from, what was it, like $900 straight up to, 2000. And Bitcoin didn't double in price. So I think obviously that's because of the merge, but they're definitely following that kind of same trajectory now that a lot of the hype has been shaken out.
Yeah, definitely. And, we're seeing that on the dominance as well. Dominance has dropped right down to my price target. It's finally hit that price target that I gave you all the way back here. I told you if we were going to get rejected from this resistance, we were most likely going to come down to this major support level here at 40% approximately. And that's what happened. There's major support down here. And I've told you before, if we do break below this major support level, there's going to be a massive altcoin season. But right now, I don't think that's going to happen because the market's so uncertain. And there is still a lot of talk for more downside. So because we're at this level here now, I do think Ethereum is going to start slowing down, and we're going to start seeing Bitcoin make those moves and those bigger moves. Because I do think I do see the dominance coming back up to the resistance potentially. Maybe not all the way up to the resistance, but I do see the dominance coming up more because obviously there is that talk of breaking below 19,000, potentially going down to that $12,000 target. And if we were to do that, the altcoins would get hit massively, and we would most definitely see the dominance find support here, and probably come up to test this resistance. Now, it doesn't mean that I don't think this support is going to ever be broken. I do think it will be broken, but I think it would be broken within a bull market. And we get the break, and then the massive altcoin season follows. But yeah, just adding on to what I said about that $19,000 level. I've mentioned this multiple times, but right here, 19,000, major support from back in June and July of 2022, and it was the all-time high back in 2017. And I mentioned this yesterday. There's absolutely no support within that range of 12,000 and 19,000. There's nothing that could hold the price up on this weekly chart. So for me, if we did break 19,000, I think a pretty quick move towards 12,000 would be sort of what would happen if we did break that $19,000 level. But yeah, maybe there's some support on those shorter time frames. But looking at this, there would be a pretty quick move down to 12,000, which looks pretty scary. But if we were to come down to 12,000, I don't think we would stay down there for long at all.
Yeah, I agree. I think, the data even shows itself, there's just an awful lot of buy orders as you kind of scale down, of which we have some.
Yeah, we do.
Not that we're going to make too much of a difference, but it's wild nonetheless. Anyway, so no, I absolutely agree. What we will do then is, if you guys want to see a little bit more from the altcoins and where it is that those key levels of support and resistance are coming from, and where they're at, then obviously make sure that you tune in, hit that bell notification so that you can see AJ's video later, because it was in one of these that you prepared and kind of told everyone about that crazy Chainlink trade that we made, and it worked out extremely well. Over 100%, which we bagged, which was nice, really nice. So guys, make sure you watch those. It's an absolute necessity. 100%.
Yeah.
Maybe not as much as slapping the like button, though. I don't know. They're up for grabs.
Yeah. It really helps if you smash that like button, and we do appreciate it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, anyway, good luck, guys. Thank you. You've been amazing. Appreciate you
Yeah.
jumping on, and we will see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, guys. Thank you for watching.